Yet again, at any point, consider that the music business glimmer and marvelousness might be a front for something fiendish. Mystery specialists from Awful Kid Records, Tanya Blount, has risen up out of the foundation and isn't keeping down. Diddy is being blamed by her for nothing, not as much as profession death. And what's this, she said. She has strong proof. Greeting to our station Celeb Zone. We're examining a hot issue today. I'm alluding about Tanya Blount, a previous Terrible Kid Records artist, who has evened out a few serious allegations against music magnate Did People. She likewise asserts that Diddy has a propensity for demolishing the vocations of his craftsmen. The account extends in more hazier, there are gossipy tidbits about deserted projects, work terminations, and odd VIP vanishings of specialists. The only one being singled out is Diddy. Regardless of whether you like Diddy, stay tuned on the grounds that what I will uncover will unquestionably shock you. Nobody is feeling the wildness of these internet-based roads more than Diddy right now. You realize his name is commonly known via virtual entertainment, yet not for the reasons he would need. Previously encouraging entertainer Tanya Blount, contracted to Diddy's Terrible Kid Records, has evened out a few significant allegations. She is accusing Diddy explicitly of obliterating her music profession, as well as not just her own. She has a not insignificant rundown of performers she guarantees were hurt by Jingle's profession botch individuals. She is making a few intense allegations, and she's giving a hot subtleties to help them. She attests that Awful Kid Records was a cemetery for ability, a disclosure that has the web humming since this isn't whenever we first heard something almost identical in regards to Awful Kid Records. The story is substantially more fascinating. Many individuals have noticed an unconventional example of performers getting together with a mark just to seem to vanish from the music business after some time. Thus, this is the thrilling part. Blount doesn't just case that Diddy's horrible administration made these performers bomb. She guarantees that everything was finished deliberately. That is exact. Blount said that Diddy wasn't just inadequate in his work. He was purposefully subverting these craftsmen, which make them leave the business. Spurn may ring a bell. In those days, she had an arrangement with Terrible Kid. She was going to stumble upon the opportunity of a lifetime. Yet it never emerged. She's presently telling her side of the story years after the fact. There are vast surges of tweets, postings, and remarks about it on the web. This isn't just a wobbly brief talk. Diddy is feeling a ton of strain subsequently, particularly considering the new debate that is now overwhelming him anyway. The account doesn't complete there. Tanya Blount demands Diddy didn't give these artists down access pith. He drove them out of the business totally. She is sure that he was the inspiration driving their leaving, whether it was through botched duplicity or open damage. We should research this. Tanya Blount, who endorsed with Awful Kid Records in 1996, is here youthful and prepared to take on the music business in vision. Assuming Diddy himself communicated revenue in your work as a youthful, dubious craftsman, it's the truth, isn't it? Blown thought she had put forth it. Rich Diddy was making each attempt to get her in the studio to record a few adjusts, setting her with notable maker solid energy. Gave the feeling that the sky was the limit then. At that point, however, something changed. Blau claims that Diddy's enthusiasm for her drive began to decrease. The collection, which once seemed, by all accounts, to be set out toward significance, started to fade. Days developed into months, which then developed into years. She unexpectedly wound up in an unclear state, watching her fantasies gradually end. Jokester guarantees that everything started off very strong. Then my thought was suddenly deserted. It appeared like he lost revenue. Pressure began to intimate. Lowndes saw herself as being caught and deserted by a framework. She communicates her mounting disturbance at not feeling like her voice was being heard, and at having her collection, her feelings, and her spirit disregarded this feeling of devastation, and alone took an evil turn. Blount strikingly conceded that this time in her life was challenging to such an extent that she took a stab at self-destruction. The last strike follows. She was dropped by the late individuals In the mid-2000s, following quite a while of disappointment, the woman who was once hailed as the following extraordinary thing was in a flash failed to remember her music profession. In Remains Blount left the music business after this tempestuous time, and for a brief time, as well as for an unbelievable 15 years, in the domain of music that is a lifetime in the end. Diddy ventured out to unveil who he truly was. She's conveying something other than her own story. To another name that shows up routinely in this story is Craig Mack, so how about we travel once again into the past and shed some light on his circumstance? You might review Macintosh from his new enormous single Slava in Year. Diddy was supporting Macintosh at the time, advancing his melodies and situating him as the exceptional star. However, at that point, along came Big Deal. Small's a convincing person, with a without a doubt charming rhythm. Big Deal was immediately raised to the place of Awful Kid Records' new prodigy. Once Diddy saw something in him, Macintosh, once the essence of the name began to blur out of spotlight. And when Macintosh decided to change his administration issues, foster this activity, evidently didn't agree with Diddy, which expanded threats. Macintosh was under strain, since he needed to adjust the requests of his name supervisor's assumptions with vocation choices. Here's when things begin to get intriguing. As per Diddy, he was making a collection for Macintosh. This would have been a major relationship, allowing Mac the opportunity to denounce the spotlight. Blount, however, said that this was all deliberate misdirection. She said that everything was clearly false. The collection didn't exist. He was basically left hanging by Diddy at long last. There was a separation. The association that had recently showed up so encouraging was broken when Diddy discharged Mac from Terrible Kid Records. Mac was left to fight for himself in the cutthroat music business. Mac's neglected to rehash his most memorable accomplishment in the wake of leaving Awful Kid. It seemed like Diddy and Big Deal Smalls were riding the hip bounce VIP wave, while he had been deserted, permitted to fall into vanishing. We should now zero in on Sparkle, an alternate artist engaged with the Diddy embarrassment. Now his story is an insane excursion full with filter-handled guiltiness and grave repercussions. Sparkle was engaged with a shooting that modified the way of his life and profession. He got an unforgiving reality. For somebody with potential in the rap game, a 10-year prison term. Here's when Diddy enters the image. Blount claims that Diddy took advantage of Sparkle as a substitute to protect himself from lawful results in this occurrence. A remark from a meeting with Sparkle stood apart. I was committed to some unacceptable person. He once expressed these are harsh comments, an announcement of foul play that singles out Diddy. Yet what truly happened? Diddy was never arraigned, regardless of there being reports that he might have been a second shooter in the episode. These are serious allegations, and regardless of whether they have not been demonstrated, they in all actuality do have numerous unanswered issues. Did Diddy take an interest in the occasion? Was Sparkle made to bear the fault? Blount contends that Diddy didn't do his part to help Sheen's guard. It is said that Diddy recruited incapable lawyers for Sparkle, possibly setting him in a difficult situation in court. Yet it goes farther than that. Blank guarantees that